This year, Mont Blanc released Explorer Extreme. Is this Creed's Absolu Aventus and Dior Sauvage Elixir rolled into one, but for a lot cheaper? Let's investigate. First, a little bit of context. We're going to go back to Mont Blanc Explorer, the original, which does smell very similar to Creed's Aventus. Not exactly the same, but it's similar enough for me to pick it out as smelling like Aventus when I did a blind sniff test that Essential ran a few years ago. I knew it couldn't have been Aventus because it was all designer fragrances, but when I smelled it, the first thing that popped into my head was Aventus. So it doesn't smell exactly the same, but it's pretty close. I think it's pretty safe to say Mont Blanc knew what they were doing here. They were bringing that Aventus DNA into the mainstream market. Perhaps they just made it mass appealing. They certainly made it cheaper. There is a little bit of history here because Mont Blanc and Creed have gone head to head before. Mont Blanc's Individuel was released before Creed's original Santal. They smelled very similar. The original one is not the one that has original in the name, strangely enough. It's bloody confusing to be a perfume customer, isn't it? Now, Mont Blanc Explorer proved a huge hit because people were buying it and loving it. People who love Aventus were getting a cheaper version. People who had never smelled Aventus and didn't even know Aventus existed were getting a fragrance that they loved. They were getting complimented on it. It was a hit. And I agree, I think it was a great fragrance, a great release, a good move from Mont Blanc, a good business strategy anyway, because they were cashing in on what they knew is an amazing DNA. If you were to ask me which one I would choose between original Aventus and Mont Blanc Explorer, when you're talking about smell alone, I would have to still go with Aventus. If you're bringing the whole price proposition and the value for money into the equation, you know it might tip towards Mont Blanc Explorer because it's a great smell and it's very affordable. Now, this year, Mont Blanc released Explorer Extreme, and when it was announced, we were thinking, is this just going to be a stronger, more intense version of Explorer? I would have been down with that. I think that would have been a great move from Mont Blanc. Could they have made it stronger for the price that they're selling these fragrances at? I don't know. But that isn't what we got anyway. All those people hoping for Beast Mode Explorer, for an Aventus style fragrance for a very affordable price that was strong and long lasting, as strong as Creed's Aventus, yeah, sadly disappointed. So what do we get with Extreme? In this video, I'm going to let you know how similar to this and this I think it is. And at the end of this video, I'm going to let you know which of these three fragrances I think is the best and which one I'd spend my money on. Okay, let's just address the first thing. This fragrance is called Extreme. Is it extreme? It's not extreme. It's not intense. It's not extreme. It's not an elixir. It's not a potent fragrance. It's not extreme, but it's pretty good. I think it smells really nice. It's a very mass appealing designer fragrance, done pretty well, and it's an affordable price point. How similar does it smell to Creed's Absolu Aventus? Because if the original Explorer was a take on Aventus, could Explorer Extreme be Mont Blanc's take on Absolu Aventus? I don't think it is. I'm actually wearing these two fragrances side by side, and in Explorer, I'm getting all confused in my bottles here. In Explorer Extreme, this does not really smell as much like Aventus as Explorer. It kind of goes off in a different direction. There's a little bit of original Explorer, but it smells less like the Aventus DNA than Explorer did. Absolu Aventus is a stonkingly good fragrance. You get everything that was great about original Aventus. The pineapple, the birch, there's some extra spiciness to it. It's a little darker, it's stronger. This actually is probably a stronger and better fragrance than the current Aventus that you can now buy in the stores today. I think it's closer maybe to the old Aventus that we used to get, the Aventus that was a little darker, a little smokier. This reminds me more of that. And since this was released, I've been choosing to wear this over Aventus because I find it stronger, it's longer lasting, it's just a little more rugged, it's got a bit more attitude, it's a more robust fragrance. I think Absolu Aventus is a superb scent. So it would have been a pretty good move for Mont Blanc to go after it, to just do what they did with Explorer, but do it for Absolu Aventus. When I'm comparing these two side by side, Absolu Aventus and Explorer Extreme, Absolu Aventus is definitely the most extreme of the two fragrances. You get such a deep, punchy fragrance. The pineapple is juicy, it's smoky, the spices. It smells really high quality. It's got a lot of depth, it's very strong, it's got fantastic performance. It is, and there's no question about it, a fantastically composed fragrance. It's got a price tag on it, you have to pay for it, but you are, I think in this case, getting what you pay for. In comparison, Explorer Extreme maybe has just a flicker of that Aventus DNA. It has a little bit of the spiciness, but it doesn't have that deep, juicy, rich pineapple note. It doesn't have any of the black currant. I don't think it has that much of a leather note, even though leather is actually listed in this one. It doesn't have the smokiness. It doesn't have the attitude. It doesn't have the backbone. It doesn't have the statement-making, attention-grabbing smell that Absolu Aventus has. So when I smelled this first, that was my first little shock, because I was expecting it to be a take on Absolu Aventus, and I don't think it is. If you really look, like I said, you can find little bits of crossover, but it's not really a similar scent to me. The other scent that people were comparing this to is Dior Sauvage Elixir. Very popular release for Dior, and when Absolu Aventus came out, a lot of people said that this was Creed's version of Sauvage Elixir. This is all getting pretty confusing, isn't it? Well, I don't think it is really. I get that gorgeous, juicy pineapple. Obviously that isn't present in Elixir. Yeah, this is a spicy fragrance, and this has some darker, robust spices in. That's about as close as it gets. These two don't smell that similar to me. I think there are quite big differences. Explorer Extreme smells closer to Sauvage Elixir than it does to Absolu Aventus. So is it a take on Sauvage Elixir? Again, I don't think it is a direct take because it doesn't smell similar enough. This is a massively impactful, attention-grabbing, statement-making fragrance. The licorice in here, the spices. It's a strong smell. It lasts and lasts. Maybe too strong for some people. It is certainly a very distinctive scent. Explorer Extreme isn't. Like I said, it's not extreme. It's not that distinctive. It doesn't make an impact in the way that both Sauvage Elixir and Absolu Aventus does. And actually, I would say that I get more of the original Sauvage in this than I get Sauvage Elixir. What is it then? Is it a take on original Sauvage? No. Is it a flanker to Explorer? I guess, but it doesn't smell as good as that, and it doesn't smell as close to Aventus. It's not a direct take on Sauvage Elixir. I don't think it even is somewhere in the middle of these two fragrances. So what even is it? What I think it is a perfume that has been created by committee, and some people in that committee have said we should do Absolu Aventus, but then other people have said, but Dior Sauvage Elixir was also really popular, we should do that. And some people have said, yeah, but we want it to smell at least a bit like the original Mont Blanc Explorer. And then some other people in the committee have said, yeah, but original Sauvage was also very popular. They've combined everything that the committee came up with. They've tried to please everybody around the table in an effort to try and please everyone around the world to make it a really mass appealing fragrance. And the result is, unfortunately, something that is not as good as any of those other three fragrances. Original Sauvage, it's not as good. Sauvage Elixir, not as good. Absolu Aventus, it's nowhere near as good. It's a sort of wishy-washy amalgamation of all those three fragrances, I guess. And the result is something that is unremarkable, but kind of good, kind of pleasant. I think a lot of people going into a store who aren't that into fragrances would smell this and think it is a perfectly acceptable fragrance. And I think that people would probably go out and spray this on and get some compliments, because it's not a smell that you can hate on. It's not a trash fragrance at all. It's not a horrible smelling fragrance. It smells pretty nice. When it was released, I was hoping that I could just have a really clear-cut opinion on what this was trying to emulate or be inspired by, but I don't think it is clear-cut. And there's maybe more that the committee brought to the table than I've even mentioned in this video. The final place I'm gonna rest on my opinion on what Explorer Extreme smells like is, it's something in between Sauvage Elixir and the original Sauvage, with a little bit of the original Explorer thrown in there, but it's this blander, less distinctive, less impactful version of all those three fragrances. Which one should you buy? Which is the best value for money of all these fragrances? Because we've got some big price differences. You can pick this one up for about 40, 50 pounds, so good value. The price of Sauvage Elixir seems to have gone up. I think the recommended retail at the moment is 143 for this 60 ml. I think it was 125 when it first came out, so the price has gone up. You can find it a bit cheaper. I've seen it selling for, I think, 117 pounds online for this 60 ml. Still pretty pricey, but not as pricey as the Creed Absolu Aventus. This 75 ml I've found retailing for, if you look hard enough, you can find it for around about 250. If you want to buy direct from Creed, you can get the 50 ml version of this bottle for about 270 pounds. For a Creed fragrance, for a niche fragrance, it's pricey, but it's not as pricey as some. Of the 3 fragrances I've mentioned in this video, let me tell you which one is my favorite. I think you probably worked out that straight away we're gonna put Mont Blanc Explorer Extreme to one side because it's not even in the running. I love Sauvage Elixir. I love Absolu Aventus. So for me, it's between these 2 fragrances. Now we're just coming down to personal preference here. We're coming down to which one I enjoy more. I'm gonna have to go with Absolu Aventus. I know it's quite a bit more expensive, but I think I enjoy the smell of this over this enough to justify the extra cost of this fragrance. So over £100 extra cost. Sauvage Elixir is fantastic. I absolutely adore this fragrance, but this Aventus smell is just incredible. I think they've improved on the original Aventus. I think this is a fantastic release from Creed. And I think if you can find this 75 ml bottle for £250, you're getting a great fragrance. It's good enough value for me. I would happily pay that much money for a fragrance that smells as good as this. It's gonna last because you don't have to spray that much of it because it's a strong fragrance. So you're getting all the good things about performance and longevity. That's all part of the price with this. You're getting high quality ingredients, high quality materials. No, this video is not sponsored by Creed. I'm just being completely honest about what I think of this fragrance. It's sensational. One of the best releases in recent years. If you're in the market for a new fragrance, if you are considering Mont Blanc Explorer Extreme, if you're not bothered really about fragrances and you kind of just want to smell kind of good, then 50 quid on Explorer Extreme will probably do you. But if you're into fragrances enough that you think you want to smell as good as you could possibly smell and you want to treat yourself, like I bought this watch. I spent a lot of money. I'm not into watches, but I just wanted one watch that I knew was a great watch. It's a Tissot PRX, by the way. I didn't have to spend much money for a great watch that I will have for the rest of my life, and every time I wear it, I love it. If you're thinking about your fragrances in terms of that you've not got a massive collection, but you just want some really good ones, couple of really good ones, or one really good one, and you think it's worth just spending a bit more than you normally would on something like that, then treat yourself and go for Absolu Aventus. At least go into a store and smell it. There's no excuse really. All these fragrances are in stores quite easily to go and have a sniff, go and smell them, see which one you think, and if you find that Absolu Aventus is good enough to spend the money on and to treat yourself on, then I would suggest going for that. So that's my hot take on Mont Blanc Explorer Extreme. Was it a hot take? I don't know. Was it that hot? It's a decent fragrance, like I said, a little bit unremarkable. If they'd have gone smack bang in the middle of these two, if they'd have made it as strong and as impactful as these two, if it was just the perfect hybrid of the two, they could have been onto something. It could have been an incredible fragrance. But what do I know? That's just my opinion. Like I said, go into a shop, give it a smell, make up your own decision. I just wanted to come here and just throw out my opinions and my thoughts on these fragrances. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think of these fragrances and which one out of these three would you buy? Do you own all of them? If you do, which one do you think is the best? Let's have a conversation because I think it's a good subject. If you like the video, give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and if you do all that, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for listening to my ramblings. Goodbye.